The link wouldn't work for Ruth Ann. Joey, can you send it to her again?
Mr. Chair, we are ready to go.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody for attending. Unfortunately, once again, we are in Zoom attendance, and I'm very sorry for that. I really think it affects our ability to be consultants to the Alka-San, but it is what it is, so we'll struggle through it. Having said that, Stevie, would you like to begin with a roll call, please?
Good afternoon, all. Nick Bianchi. Lisa Werder Bryan. Lloyd Cunningham.
Here.
Lisa's here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to plug in my computer.
Dan DeMarco. Patricia DeMarco.
Present.
Tina Doucet. Ariam Ford Graver. Nick Griesok.
Here.
Mark Heckman.
Here.
Rebecca Kiernan.
Here.
Ken Lasada.
Here.
Ruth Ann Omer. Stanley Paps. Will Pickering. Mary Ellen Ramage.
Here.
Tim Rogers.
Present.
Mark Samponia. Kathy Sapp. Danielle Francesca. I have 9. Ruth Ann's on her way.
Ruth Ann's on the phone. She's, I've asked Joey to send her the link again.
I have 10.
Yes, we have 21 seats, but I think one was not filled and we had one resignation. So by my count, unless there's been any change in the last 2 months since we last met of other people coming on or others going off, we have 19 advisory committee members. We need 10 for quorum.
Hey.
And Ruth Ann would be the 10th if she.
So we're, well, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll wait for Ruth Ann. Apparently, when you retire, your ability to deal with technology gets limited, I guess. So, give Ruth Ann another minute because we do want to organize the board. And I've said before, you know, it's regrettable that we're still stuck on video. We are being recorded, and but hopefully sometime this year we'll get back face to face. Do we have?
Do you want to delay the reorganization until we can get Ruth Ann on?
Yes, well, let's jump down to number 4. We're going to delay a discussion on the report to the board of directors of Alka-San for 1 month. We're still finalizing that report, so we'll have that for the February meeting. I think we can deal with the schedule for 2022. The draft schedule for 2022 was sent out to all the members. Are there any objections or concerns regarding the schedule for 2022?
None.
Hearing none, we'll go ahead and do that. Does anybody have anything they want to report in their basin that's going on? I can report much to your pleasure, I'm sure, Mary Ellen, that Ross and Shaler are meeting this week on the Ross-Shaler Main to see if we can do some joint work in compliance with the consent decree.
Good to know. I did not know that.
Just got scheduled about an hour ago. So,
Oh, maybe you could send me a little email update.
Sure. Anybody have anything in their basins?
Yeah,
Lisa?
I have something for Sawmill Run. As Jeannie alluded to at the very beginning, there was a press release that went out last week that PWSA has turned over the Integrated Watershed Management Plan to Watersheds of South Pittsburgh. And Watersheds of South Pittsburgh will be heading that process up and moving forward with the implementation. And within the watershed, we have also, I believe, and I don't know if Will Pickering is on the line, but the PennDOT and PWSA RFP went out, and I believe they're ready to announce the consultant on the design build consultant on that project. And it's to be a stream restoration project within the watershed to reduce sediment loads in the stream. So lots of stuff happening and in Sawmill Run, and we're pretty excited to be moving forward with a more concerted effort and a cooperative attitudes towards shared responsibility for the stream and the issues.
Great.
Congratulations.
Good work. Let the record show Ruth Ann just joining us, and that brings us to a quorum. Thank you, Ruth Ann.
And Tina Doucet has joined us too.
Tina, welcome as well.
Sorry, I couldn't get in. I apologize, but your staff helped me. Thank you to the ALCOSAN staff.
No problem. Okay, so then we'll go back up to the annual reorganization of the committee, and that passes the mic to you, Max.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. In accordance with the bylaws of the ALCOSAN board setting up the advisory committee, we do have a directive to reorganize and elect a chair and a vice chair after the first meeting after January 1st. We did this last time via Zoom. Everybody has probably gone through reorganization meetings at the beginning of January, or if you're on the school board, first week of December. My process is pretty typical. I'll ask for a motion to open the floor for nominations for chair, and we'll do the same for vice chair later. Have that motion and second. The floor will then be open for anybody to make a nomination. Nominations do not require a second. You are nominated and do not wish to hold the position, you can decline the nomination. And if we have more than one nominee, we'll proceed with a voice vote for your selected nominee. We only have one nomination, as is often the case. I'll ask for nominations again. Hearing none the third time, I will ask for a motion to close the floor for nominations and have the secretary cast a unanimous ballot for that one named nominee. And as I said, we'll do the same for the vice chair. Mr. Rogers, there's no term limits for anybody else that's interested in either position. And it is a position that you hold at the pleasure of the advisory committee. With that said, we did this last year, I think maybe for the first time, but we'll do it again here. So at this time, I'd call for a motion to open the floor for nominations for chair. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
By Mary Ellen, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Say. Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye or wave.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, the floor is now open for nominations for the position of chair. Do I have any nominations?
I'll make a nomination. I'll nominate Mr. Rogers to continue as chair if he so chooses.
Thank you, Ruth Ann.
And I'll second that nomination for Mr. Rogers. Oh, you don't need a second. That's all right.
No second necessary.
You don't need
No
it.
problem.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Any other nominations for the position of chair? It's my third time. Hearing none, I will now ask for a motion to close the floor for nominations for chair and direct the secretary to cast unanimous ballot, again, for Mr. Rogers as chair. Do I have that motion?
I'll
So-
make that motion. This is Tina Duce.
Ms. Doucet makes the
second.
motion. Is there a second by Ms.
I'll second.
DeMarco?
Yep.
Thank you. Properly moved and seconded. And all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Rogers, but I'll continue to wield the gavel as we move to vice chair. Can I have a motion to open the floor for nominations for the position of vice chair?
Max, who is our current vice chair?
I believe it's Mr. From Simpongna.
Oh, okay.
Is that true?
Right, and
Yes.
Yes.
Mark is leaving the board, I believe, in retirement.
Oh, okay. Well, and that might be another, I know there, at some point we wanted to talk about that, and this might be as good a chance as any. There's been some question, I think, that has come up from other members that when you're appointed to the advisory committee, if you're in a position of council member or any position or employed by a municipality, and you change that position or don't run again or anything like that, do you automatically have to resign, or are you removed from the advisory committee? And the answer is no. The only hook or the only requirement is when you are appointed to serve one of the watershed basins, as long as you continue to reside in that watershed basin or continue to work in that watershed basin. That was the only requirement we have on your advisory committee. So if there is a change of status in terms of a retirement or a decision not to run, as long as you represent or can communicate with that watershed basin and you live in that watershed basin, you are permitted to stay on the advisory committee. And once again, it is the county executive that makes the appointments. And although we do accept resignations and noted them for the meeting minutes, it is the county executive that makes the appointments.
Tim, I'm sorry, did you clearly say that he has retired off the board, Mark?
I believe he sent in a letter, did he not, Jeannie?
Jeannie.
You're muted, Jeannie.
Yes, he sent us a letter.
I thought so. I thought I got a letter from Mark.
Okay, so are we open for nominations for vice chair then?
I
Mhm.
believe we are, yes.
Yes, I'd like to make a nomination. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you gonna?
I was going to nominate Mary Ellen Ramage.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have one nomination for Vice Chair Marianne Ramage. Do I have any other nominations for the position of Vice Chair? Any other nominations for the position of Vice Chair?
Motion to close.
3, motion to close the floor for nominations for Vice Chair and have the Secretary direct a unanimous ballot for Vice Chair Mary Ellen Ramage. Do I have that motion from Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Yes, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. DeMarco. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you. That works out pretty good because Mary Ellen's been poking me in the backside for the last 30 years. So.
My thoughts exactly.
And you two
Ruth
can
Ann,
commute together. It'll be
Yeah.
great.
Right, but now Mary Ellen can merge. She's
Yeah.
learned to merge, so she doesn't have to go with
Yeah.
Tim.
Ruth Ann and Tina, thank you for the nomination. To all of you, I would say thank you to all of you very much. I appreciate it. Much to the pleasure, I'm sure, of you, but in the 65 employees of Shaler Township, I am retiring at the end of this year, so we will all be able to move on from that. But thank you. So we've completed that. Action items, approval of the minutes of the November 2021 meeting. Your pleasure regarding the minutes.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion from Lloyd, seconded by Patricia. Question on the motion. Being called, all in favor, give your consent by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, it's so ordered. Is there any, so we had an earlier discussion on the report before you join us, Ruth Ann, we're delaying the report to the ALCOSAN board till February to give us some time to complete some additional information.
Will we be able to see that in draft to comment on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Jeannie and I talked it over. She's going to send it to me. Once I review it, then I'll ask her to send it to everybody in draft.
Okay.
We've had a discussion on the ALCOSAN Board of Directors. We're struggling a little bit every meeting to get a quorum, which is unfortunate. I think it has a factor to do with Zoom meetings and things like that. But, you know, and then there are 2 vacancies as I understand it. And I assume that those vacancies, Arletta or Jeannie, have been referred to the county executive for filling.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hopefully we'll get some people who want to participate. Public outreach, Jeannie,
Actually, that's Joey.
Joey, you're up.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you don't know, we will be having our annual public meeting on Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 from 2 to 4. It will be virtual via Zoom, and largely a update on last year's successes in the Clean Water Plan and where we're going to go this year. If you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them. We will be also reaching out to you soon to schedule some time to go over the promised media kits. So be on the lookout for that as well.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
thank you. Any questions for Joey? I'd like to open it to the entire board now for a discussion about what you want to see from the ALCOSAN staff in terms of reports to this board. Are there any ideas or questions or concerns? I'm thinking I would initial maybe, you know, we took another pretty significant rate increase. And, you know, we're hearing from that, those of us that are in the municipal side are just sending out notices through our billing practices. And so we're getting some calls regarding that. And I'm assuming that some of us are raising their rates. Shaler has raised its sewer rate, the tax on to the ALCOSAN rate, for purposes of complying with the consent decree. So to the extent that we can get some public relations, Joey, Arletta, and Jeannie, to support that rate increase into our residents through our newsletters, I think that would be appreciated.
Absolutely. I also wanted to share with the members that there's been an increase in our Clean Water Assistance Fund grant that's now $40 a quarter. And there is also a new fund out of the state as part of COVID relief that ALCOSAN has no administrative ability on, but it will help the municipalities. You need the ratepayer can be a renter or a homeowner, and they need to have an arrearage. This is all being handled by the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. People can go up to the Compass website to sign up, or they can call the Department of Human Services. I'm going to be sending out an email shortly to all the municipalities about this, because I know many of you do have arrearages, and this would be a big help particularly if they're income eligible recipients. It's pretty much the same rules with the federal guidelines as have been in other ratepayer assistance, and is the same as ALCOSAN's Clean Water Assistance Fund. Dollar Energy is not administering this, though, so they can apply for the Clean Water Assistance Fund through Dollar Energy, but to apply for the assistance in arrearages and other assistance, they go to the Department of what used to be the Department of Welfare, Department of Human Services.
Jeannie, it's kind of like LIHEAP, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got, I forget its name, but it's got a lie warp or something like that. Yeah.
Senator Williams has done a lot of social media, and I think it's on our website, so that You might be able to gain some more information there. too.
Right. We have all the documents from the Department of Human Services since my daughter works there.
Mary Ellen, we also pushed that out on all of our social media last week. So that information is also up there on our stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Patty, you had your hand up? And we'll get you. Ruth.
I basically just wanted to know if we have a simple way to explain the rate increase to our citizens. I get a lot of questions about it, and it's complicated, and it's not an easy message to convey to people, especially since Ardmore Boulevard is constantly being torn up by somebody or the other. And we're having just disasters down there. So people get really annoyed. Why can't we do this all at once? You know, why are we paying for it multiple times to be paved and opened and repaved and reopened? So I would find it helpful if we had a simple way to explain what the rate increases are about. I do have the trunk line upgrade map on the wall in our borough offices, but we have so few people coming into the office anymore that isn't as effective as it might be. It is very helpful, but you know, we don't have a good way to get it out to people easily because they don't come into the office so much anymore.
Maybe
One
a
of the
one
things-
pager would be great that
A
shows
one
that.
pager, a one pager would be phenomenal.
That we could put into our newsletters.
Yeah, we can put it into the Tree City Times. We can put it on the website. I would find a one-page bulleted thing very helpful right now.
My water authority, we're going to we went from a quarterly bill to a bi-monthly bill. And now we're going to offer a choice for a monthly bill. Try to help residents cope with the increases. Ruth Ann?
First, I heard that too, Tim.
Yeah.
So last year is going to be tough on you.
Yes.
Just a couple quick things. And I think it's going to be worth the price of admission to watch the Tim and Mary Ellen show this year. So I think it's going to be good. I really agree about the rate increase sheet. I don't know if it could be tied to and I don't want to put more work, but like some monthly from this meeting, some successes at Alka-San, the construction project, some good things. Here's how your money's being spent. Not a dissertation, but a bullet thing that we could give back to our basins. I'm going to be reaching out to Ken, and we're obviously short one person now in the chartiers, but that we could report back that this is what your money's being spent on, or here's 10% completion. It doesn't have to be summaries or whatever, all the good things that are happening down there. That would be great. Also, an update on the Soar agreements. Where do we stand with the signing of the Soar agreements? Are we at 20%, 50%? I mean, Max, I don't know if you have that now at all, just guessing. Are we at 1 or where are we?
I don't have an updated number. I do know that at least in terms of our office and AECom are planning or have scheduled sort of a mock closing to go through the transfer agreement process on Alka-San's end, just to make sure that we know that this is what everything is going to look like, and get ready for the executive director's signature. So they are moving along. We have been receiving completed versions from some of the municipalities, but off the top of my head, I don't know the exact figure or the exact number that have come in the door just yet, but I do know that none have been fully executed as of today.
I think as we go forward and we have positive information, which I know the ALCOSAN team will, that's another good thing to put into our updates. Like, hey, we have another municipality signed up. Sometimes friend pressure is a little helpful, because I know I've been talking to people about the value of this. And then, does anybody know? I don't want to put it on the spot. Has anybody sold their system? I know that several municipalities had proposals. I'm trying to remember. I think Brentwood. I want to say I think Whitehouse. I'm not sure all of them. Has anybody actually gone through and done that yet? Does anybody know?
No, we in terms of discussions, we have been talking with Brentwood and PA American Water as their proposed purchaser there. So we started talking, having lawyers discussions sometime in the spring or so, but had a number of concerns and items that we had to bring forward. In the last 2-3 months, we have received sort of letters of support for the Brentwood purchase from Baldwin and from Whitehall, just encouraging that be able to go forward. Most recently, December 15th, we sent a letter to PA American and Brentwood to outline some concerns and some issues that we needed to see be addressed from ALCOSAN's perspective with respect to the Z agreement and how that would work out. There have been a couple of proposals from PA American and Brentwood that weren't satisfactory, and they have proposed something, more recently with respect to an assignment and assumption agreement that is getting closer to keeping the Z agreement, untouchable in place, and things like that. But no, they still need to go to PUC to get approval of the sale. They need to do a lot of other work as well. They did kick off this process in December 2020 with an ordinance that they passed at the Borough of Brentwood to accept and enter into a purchase and sale agreement. And it had a timeline in that purchase and sale agreement, but they've gone beyond that already. This is a remarkably complex transaction that they are proposing.
Well,
Following,
maybe we can eventually, if it goes whatever either way, get some lessons learned or some helpful hints for municipalities. I know ALCOSAN put on a session at ALOM last year. And I just am keeping the information, no matter what side of this you're on, it might be good, in the future. So I'm just mentioning that. And I apologize where I'm at, they're testing the fire alarm, which I'm hoping it's only a test. I keep looking around to make sure it's only a test, but
you have a sun halo behind you, Ruth.
Yeah,
I
right.
know, I'm trying not to do that. I
Oh, you're
apologize.
fine.
I know, because it's really irritating when you have 8 inches of snow out and somebody's in someplace sunny, so I apologize. And that would be all I have, Tim. And then, of course, I know for Dave, I always like to have that Three Rivers wet weather update and all the good things they're doing, maybe to get out to the municipalities too. I'm annoying, so thanks.
To follow your 2 points, Ruth Ann, one is on the transfer agreement, Max, are you getting any pressure to change any conditions in the transfer agreement? The reason I ask is it's going to my board this month for consideration and recommendation for approval. And one of the things that I think all of the managers are getting from their boards is this the final agreement, or are there agreements being changed in other municipalities?
No, we haven't made any changes or received any. We've had 1 or 2 comments from municipalities, asking sort of a similar question or saying they had some things they wanted to address, but we've given them the standard line that this has been heavily negotiated both before it got to the solicitors group and then thereafter, and that this is the take it or leave it offer.
Good. And then Ruth Ann, I agree with you completely. I think that's a very good suggestion. If ALCOSAN could produce a 1-page article that we could put in our newsletters that included the accomplishments, that people want to know where the money's being spent. It has been covered somewhat in the media, to your credit, Arletta and Jeannie. There was a pretty good news article about the expansion of the plant, but people don't watch the world news as much anymore. They're tied in with.
Yeah, in the interim, let me suggest that people go to our website, because there are a number of wonderful videos there about the expansions we're doing to the plant. And people love to see construction too.
Yeah.
So that while we don't make, I haven't looked at it recently, but we don't make the direct connection to the rates, they can actually see the activity. We've got 5 different major construction projects here at the plant, and it's pretty amazing to
If
see.
we could get an update at the February meeting on the capital projects, a
Sure.
presentation, so that we're aware of what they are and where they are in the.
And then, Jeannie, your suggestion is excellent, that we also remind everyone to go to the website and look there. I'm just, it takes people 7 times to hear something to remember it.
Right.
And so I know we do public media and we do all kinds of stuff, but just trying to get the word out more, that's all. Thanks.
And frankly, a lot of people, are technologically challenged. sometimes people that need to understand the information knows. So while we're doing that, I'm going to still push back for written.
Yep.
We have people that, seniors, et cetera, that don't have that capability or want to have it even. So we could still have something just bullet points of, all the wonderful work that's going on and what's proposed next, the next tunnel, whatever. So that'd be great.
Yeah, I just want to say I absolutely concur, Mary Ellen, because sometimes when you need an immediate pushback to folks that are upset about changes and rate increases, that's something we can easily pass in our email. It just works.
Folks, please do not forget that we have this stellar media kit prepared to help you talk through a variety of things. We will distill the specific rate-related information, but as for the program and everything associated with it, you're about to get some pretty slick material to help you in the grocery store, at church, after council meeting, in the middle of the night when people text you and just have that burning desire to know more about wastewater treatment in Allegheny County. We're here for you.
Very good. Anybody else? Okay. So we had the discussion earlier about the report from the basins. Anything else in your basin you want to report? Hearing none. Public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wants to?
No.
No public on board? Very good.
I would like to congratulate Lisa for being appointed to Mayor Gainey's transition team.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Congratulations, Lisa.
I'm very excited.
Congratulations.
Another volunteer job.
Hopefully, Lisa, you're not in charge of snow removal in the city.
No, I'm not
Okay.
actually. I live in one of those places that doesn't get out much. So I'm not in charge of that.
Very good. That's the front lines right now.
Right.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, I have a question,
Sure,
Tim.
Tina.
I know sometimes it's more difficult, but the fact that we quite often don't have public participation or involvement, I know it makes it easier for us, but I think that going forward, we should think about that, because I do think that and I really believe that ALCOSAN has done some good things, the expansion of the plant. How do we, and it would make, I think it would make our jobs easier too, if we were able to garner more public participation and, articulate these things to that population at this meeting. I think it could be beneficial. It doesn't always have to be, negative and someone coming with a gripe, but to reach out to the public in a different way. Just a suggestion. That's all.
And then to follow that, Jeannie, do we advertise this meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
So and we're recording the meeting, do we make that available on the ALCOSAN
Yes.
website? Okay. Patty?
And if you subscribe to ALCOSAN's YouTube feed, you will get a notice of it immediately.
Okay. Pat?
Yeah, I'd like to amplify what Tina said, because I think when we first started doing this before COVID days, we did briefings as after council meeting briefings, workshops, where we might have 25, 30, members of the public present to receive information, to see things on maps and to have questions answered. In the post-COVID world, we aren't able to do that really at all. And we're having trouble finding alternative ways of communicating with our public in ways that are interactive. And we've just taken on Savvy Citizen, but we don't have but a couple hundred people signed up so far. And it takes a long time to develop that culture of exchange on electronic media when this is a community very much accustomed to go to the Westinghouse Lodge and have a meeting briefing and everybody argue about it for a while. I mean, that's what they are used to. And finding substitutions that are effective has been extremely difficult. I know there's been a lot of discussion and organizing in our community around the pending Amazon distribution center in the former Churchill Westinghouse property. A lot of those concerns have to do with water management, stormwater management, site impact on both of those things. And we haven't had a really good way to engage that conversation around the watershed, which is a major source of the concern of a number of the people involved in that activity. I have been frustrated by feeling constrained in the tools we have for doing interactive commentary with our public. And I don't know how to deal with it. It's just everybody has the same problem. We don't have a local radio station that covers this stuff. We don't have a local newspaper anymore that covers community issues that aren't, tragedies or, spectacular, mowing down in the street. You don't get regular coverage of local events the way, people would used to have when there was a daily paper. So I would just like to think if we can focus some of our creative energy around how we deal with this public communication barricade.
It's a good point. You're right. The local coverage. I haven't seen a media person at a Township of Shaler board meeting in probably 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
But I get a call from a reporter the day after, and I write the article for her. It always looks good here. But Jeannie, do the public attend the ALCOSAN board meeting minutes at all? Or the board meeting? Did the public ever get involved there?
And the ALCOSAN
Sporadically,
board?
Tim, they do. Sporadically. We
Bradley,
will have public comment. Yes.
gotcha. Okay,
It's we need to remember that this body is just 2 years old, and that entire 2 years have been under COVID.
yeah.
So there wasn't even an idea that people should be paying attention to this. We had, a couple people who were coming in and speaking, and a lot of them, I think, were also contacting some of the advisory committee members. But I think since maybe I'm adding 2 and 2 and getting 17, but since we got the federal consent decree, we have not seen that kind of interaction.
Does the board, is your ALCOSAN board meeting in person yet, or are they still?
They're
Right.
hybrid.
They're hybrid, okay. Very good. Anything else for the good of the order?
Tim, one more thing, and I apologize if I forgot, but on our future meetings, also just actually having a Three Rivers wet weather report. They're not a employee of ALCOSAN, but ALCOSAN funds them almost completely. And it would just be nice, because I know they held the meetings with all the municipalities to talk about the agreements. And, Dave always has such great insight. Just a little bit of update of what's going on with them. And then we can spread that good word too. So that would be the only
And
thing.
that's my fault, Mary or Ruth Ann. I normally put that on the agenda, but what I did this time was take last January's agenda and put it together from that one. So I dropped Three Rivers wet weather off, and I will re-add them.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I have.
Sure.
And Jeannie, apparently they're going ahead with ALOM this year.
Mhm.
So it might be helpful to mention that ALOM, because the ALCOSAN always does a presentation there, that there
Right.
is an advisory committee. Maybe put the names up on the board so that
Sure.
the elected officials know they can reach the advisory committee. And if there's any interested in joining it, those kind of things. That might
Right.
be a way to get some outreach that might help the electeds. And
Our intention this year is to do very similar to what we did at the last ALOM conference, which is a special luncheon presentation for our municipal customers,
Good.
and to make it very worth your while, both gastronomically and intellectually. And so we're working on that. And since I'm the chair of ALOM this year, I think I'll probably get to do that.
Good. Now maybe a good time to toss the members of this committee under the bus and let them
Absolutely.
all know they're on this committee. Very good. Anything else? Hearing nothing else and without the objection, we are adjourned until February the 15th at 2 p.m. Thank you all